The morning sun on Kepler 442b broke through the alien trees, their tall, silver leaves casting sharp shadows across the human settlement. For the settlers, the strange planet had been home for generations. Its purple skies and glowing rivers were no longer alien to them. Children played in domes, engineers worked in the fusion yards, and scientists studied the endless wonders of the ecosystem. Humanity had survived here, not thriving, but enduring, under the watchful eye of the Galactic Union. But today, something was different. Captain Jake Morrison, commander of the New Dawn, walked the quiet paths toward the research facility. For 5 years, he had carried the burden of leadership. He was a soldier once, before humanity was taken in by the Valeri Empire and placed under Union rule. Now, he was simply a captain of a modest vessel, a man keeping his people safe on a world that wasn't truly theirs. Yet this morning the alien birds had gone silent. The wind seemed heavy, almost like it carried a warning. Jake entered the research lab and found his wife, Dr. Lisa Morrison, hunched over a microscope. She was brilliant, a xenobiologist who could read the smallest signs of alien life. Her dark hair was tied back, but her hands trembled slightly as she set down the slide. "They called me an hour ago," Lisa said, her voice thin. "The Valeri want us to stop all research immediately." Jake froze. "Stop research? Why?" They wouldn't explain. They only said the Galactic Union has called an emergency session. Every species must attend. Lisa's eyes met his, filled with worry. "Jake, something is happening." Before he could answer, the communication chimes echoed through the settlement. Orders spread quickly. All experiments halted, reactors powered down, military drills canceled. Fear grew like a storm cloud. Across the colony, Dr. Kelly Wright abandoned her agricultural domes. Chief Engineer Pete Collins shut down the great fusion reactors that powered their city. Commander Amy Rodriguez, head of security, canceled all training maneuvers. Nobody understood, but everyone felt the same cold dread. 3 hours later, dozens of humans gathered inside the communication center. A massive holographic display flickered to life, showing the Union's great assembly hall. Alien representatives filled the chamber. The Jeks, insectoid giants with clicking mandibles. The Neurani, floating energy clouds, shifting colors as they pulsed. Dozens of other species, some familiar, others unrecognizable. At the center stood Supreme Counselor Vexthara of the Jek Empire. Her towering body gleamed with chitin, her forearms spread wide. When she spoke, her words came through the translator in cold, mechanical tones. "Fellow members of the Union, we face a crisis that threatens the foundation of our civilization. The species known as humans have grown beyond acceptable limits." Murmurs shook the chamber. Jake felt Lisa clutch his hand. Around him, the other settlers held their breath. Vexthara continued, "For 2 centuries, we have given them sanctuary. We saved them from extinction after their home world died. We gave them protection, guidance, and territory, yet they repay us with recklessness. They have developed forbidden technology, instantaneous communication across any distance, a violation of the balance that keeps our galaxy in order." A Neurani pulsed red and blue as it floated forward. Its voice sounded like wind passing through hollow metal. "The humans discovered quantum resonance signals. They can communicate faster than light. This disrupts the Union's control of information. It threatens stability." Jake's chest tightened. He remembered the breakthrough 3 weeks ago. A small group of human scientists had unlocked a new communication method. It was supposed to be a secret until they could understand its uses. But somehow, the Union knew. Ambassador Carl Bennett, humanity's representative, stepped forward. His diplomatic training steadied his voice, though his hands shook. "Supreme Counselor," Carl said, "this is a mistake. Humanity has always followed Union protocol. We have contributed to science, to culture, to peace. One discovery does not erase generations of loyalty. Surely we can discuss." Vexthara's compound eyes locked onto him with chilling indifference. "Your species is dangerous, unpredictable. You evolve too quickly. You break patterns that have lasted millennia. The decision is final. All humans are to be removed from Union space within 48 standard hours. No exceptions." The chamber fell silent, then the hologram flickered and died. Inside the human communication center, silence gave way to chaos. People shouted in disbelief. Mothers clutched their children. Engineers cursed. Soldiers demanded orders. Amy Rodriguez slammed her fist on the console. We need to begin evacuation now. If we delay, we're finished. Jake raised his voice above the storm. Listen to me. We have less than 2 days to move every man, woman, and child across 12 colonies. That's nearly 200,000 people. We cannot waste time on panic. Lisa stepped beside him, steady as ever. Jake's right. Every minute counts. We have to act like one unit or we lose everything. And so the humans moved. The New Dawn and 7 other ships in orbit became lifelines. Pete Collins tore out non-essential systems, creating bare-bone living spaces. We can triple the load, he told Jake, sweat dripping from his brow. But it'll be hell inside. Kelly Wright filled cargo bays with genetic samples, seeds, and preserved DNA. We cannot abandon our knowledge, she whispered. This is all we have left of home. Amy coordinated with human outposts through the very communication arrays that had triggered their exile. Every message was the same. Evacuate. Abandon everything. The Union has given the order. By nightfall, the colony was a hive of desperate activity. Families packed what they could into small bags. Children cried as their toys were left behind. Elders wept at the sight of their homes stripped bare. The New Dawn, built for 80, now held over 200 souls. Other ships overflowed in the same way. It was not comfort they sought, it was survival. On the second morning, Jake stood on the bridge. His heart twisted as he watched the last shuttles rise from the empty colony below. Kepler 442b, their safe haven for generations, was now abandoned. Carl Bennett's voice filled the comms. All ships report readiness. Our course is set. Destination, the lost coordinates of Earth. Earth? A legend, nothing more. A broken, poisoned planet left behind centuries ago. Some said it was dead. Some said it was gone, but the records hinted at its coordinates, and now it was their only chance. Jake gave the order. All ships begin departure sequence. The fleet turned away from the only home most had ever known and vanished into the dark unknown. For months they traveled. Space became a prison. The overcrowded ships groaned under the weight of too many lives. Food supplies dwindled. Engines overheated. People grew sick. Lisa worked day and night as makeshift chief medical officer. It's stress, malnutrition, she explained. Too many bodies in too little space. Pete Collins reported grimly, engines are at breaking point. We can't keep this speed. If we don't slow down, ships will fail. Kelly Wright fought a different battle. Alien crops, once thriving in domes, now withered in artificial chambers. They need Kepler's soil, she muttered. Then she found a container of Earth seeds preserved for centuries. Tomatoes, corn, wheat, beans. She planted them in desperation. Weeks later, green shoots emerged. When the first tomato sprouted, people wept. For the first time in months, they felt hope. But hope came with danger. One night, alarms screamed across the New Dawn. Amy's voice shook the ship. Unknown vessels approaching, raiders. Jake ran to the bridge and saw them. Corfax Syndicate ships, black and jagged, circling like predators. Pirates exiled from the Union, feeding on the weak. Human fleet, their leader growled through broken comms. Surrender your ships, give us your food, we might let you live. The settlers were outgunned, outnumbered, exhausted. Jake stared at the screen. He saw fear on his people's faces. He saw Lisa's tired eyes. He thought of the children clutching their parents in the overcrowded decks. He clenched his fists. No, he whispered, then louder. This is Captain Jake Morrison. We will not surrender. If you want our lives, come and take them. The pirate ships powered their weapons. The human fleet braced for death. Then Jake gave the final order. Nancy, now. From the New Dawn's belly, 12 human fighters streaked into the void. Their formation looked chaotic, almost random, but it was something no alien had ever seen before. Human creativity, human unpredictability. Nancy Baker led the charge. Show them what humans can do. The first battle of the refugee fleet had begun. The black void came alive with streaks of light. The Corfax Syndicate pirates opened fire first. Blazing lances of plasma ripped through the stars, slamming against the human ships. Shields flickered, hulls shook, and terrified civilians clung to one another in overcrowded corridors. Inside the New Dawn, alarms blared, panels sparked. A child screamed as the deck lurched violently. Jake gripped the command chair, his voice cutting through the chaos. Hold the line, fighters engage. 12 human fighters streaked out like meteors. They were old ships, patched together with spare parts and human stubbornness. No alien would have flown them into battle, too fragile, too unpredictable. But humans had always thrived in the unpredictable. At the front, Commander Nancy Baker twisted her fighter into a corkscrew maneuver that made no logical sense. To the pirates, it looked like madness. To her fellow pilots, it was the signal to break formation. The Corvac expected rigid military tactics. What they faced was chaos, and chaos was humanity's art. Nancy dove straight at the lead pirate ship, flipping upside down at the last moment and firing from an angle no training manual would ever suggest. 2 more human fighters came in from opposite sides, hammering the pirates' shields. The ship exploded in a burst of orange fire. Cheers erupted across the New Dawn's bridge, but Jake knew it was only the beginning. "Don't celebrate yet," he barked. "Keep moving, keep them guessing." Nancy's squadron weaved like wild birds through the enemy lines. They attacked in spirals, loops, and sudden reversals. Where the pirates relied on brute strength, the humans relied on creativity. One fighter feigned a system's failure, spinning aimlessly, only to suddenly come alive and blast a pirate ship from below. Another pilot tricked enemy sensors by ejecting spare fuel tanks, creating false targets. The pirates couldn't keep up. On board the Harvester, a Corvac flagship, Captain Korga roared in fury. His mandibles clacked as he slammed his claw against the console. "These humans are nothing," he spat. "Primitive animals, why are they winning?" His tactical officer, a gaunt alien with pale, scaled skin, shivered. "They move wrong, Captain. Their patterns do not exist in our calculations." Korga bared his jagged teeth. "Then destroy the calculations, fire everything." The pirate fleet unleashed a storm of plasma and missiles. Human fighters danced through it like sparks on the wind. But chaos had its price. Nancy's wingman, Lieutenant Harris, took a direct hit. His fighter spiraled out of control, flames tearing across its hull. His last words crackled over the comms. "Tell my family we're worth something again." Then his ship vanished in fire. Jake closed his eyes for a heartbeat. A name, a loss, another weight on his soul, but he forced his voice steady. "All ships stay focused. Don't break. This is our chance to prove we're more than refugees." On the agricultural ship Harvest Moon, Kelly Wright clutched the railing as the ship shook violently. Beside her, young Danny Cook stared at the battle feeds with wide eyes. "They're actually winning," Danny whispered. "Humans were winning." Kelly forced a grim smile. "Hope can be a weapon, too." Back in the void, Nancy's squadron pulled off their boldest maneuver yet. Half the fighters scattered in every direction, each one moving unpredictably. The pirates spread out, chasing them. Then, as if guided by instinct, the humans looped back in perfect timing. 12 ships converged on a single target, Korga's flagship. "Now," Nancy shouted. Blinding beams slammed into the Harvester's shields. One human fighter rammed directly into its weapon array, exploding in a brilliant sacrifice. The pirate flagship spun helplessly, its weapons silent. The remaining Corvac ships hesitated. Fear spread like wildfire through their ranks. Then, one by one, they retreated into the darkness. Silence fell. The battlefield was littered with burning wreckage, drifting bodies, and shattered steel. On the New Dawn's bridge, exhausted cheers filled the air. Lisa hugged Jake tightly, tears streaking her cheeks. "We survived," she whispered. Jake's voice was heavy. "We survived this one, but Harris didn't, and others won't if we keep living like prey." The battle had proven something. Humans were not helpless. They could fight. They could win. But the battle had also given them something unexpected. Hours later, Jake and Amy Rodriguez led a boarding team to one of the crippled pirate ships still drifting. Weapons ready, they forced their way inside. The corridors stank of burnt metal and alien blood. Groans echoed through the darkness. In the control chamber, they found a single survivor, an alien with a tall, skeletal frame and 4 delicate arms. Its silver eyes glowed faintly even in the gloom. "I am Vrex," the alien rasped. "A scientist, please don't kill me." Amy raised her weapon. "He's Corvac, raiders don't get mercy." But Jake held up a hand. "Wait," he crouched before the alien. "Why were you with them?" Vrex's voice trembled. "Not with them, captive, forced to work." His eyes darted desperately between Jake and Amy. "I know where your home world is, Earth. I can help you find it." The words hit Jake like a thunderbolt. You know Earth? Yes, Vrex whispered. My people mapped signals faint but real. Your world is alive. Amy's jaw tightened. Captain, this could be a trap. Jake studied the alien's trembling form. He remembered Harris's last words. He thought of the thousands of lives crammed into their fragile fleet. He thought of children who had never seen a real sunrise. If there was even a chance Earth was alive, he had to take it. Jake extended his hand. Then help us, Vrex, and maybe together we'll both find freedom. Vrex stared at the offered hand, then slowly clasped it with one thin arm. In that moment, a fragile alliance was born. Back aboard the New Dawn, the mood shifted. News spread quickly. Earth might still live. The despair that had poisoned the fleet for months began to lift. People whispered, prayed, and wept. Children asked questions their parents couldn't answer. Lisa worked with Vrex, studying his star charts. These signals are real, she murmured. Not artifacts. Earth system is broadcasting. Jake gathered his commanders. This changes everything. We're not wandering anymore. We have a destination. Amy crossed her arms. Or a death trap. The Union could be waiting, or Earth could be nothing but ruins. Or, Jake said, his voice steady, it could be our future. Pete Collins leaned over the table, grease still staining his hands. If Earth is alive, they'll have technology we've never dreamed of, maybe even a way to fix our ships. Maybe food, real food. Kelly Wright entered with a tray of sprouting plants. And seeds. If we reach Earth, these won't just feed us, they'll remind us who we are. Silence fell. For the first time since Exile, the human fleet felt something powerful. Not just survival, not just desperation. Hope. But hope never came without a price. 2 weeks later, as the fleet pushed deeper into the unknown, Lisa burst into Jake's quarters, her face pale. Jake, she whispered, the new scans of Earth, they don't make sense. He frowned. What do you mean? Lisa held up the data, her voice trembling with awe and fear. The biosphere readings are impossible. It's not just Earth down there. There are species from across the galaxy. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Jake, Earth isn't just alive. She met his eyes, her words heavy with revelation. Earth has become something else entirely. The human fleet drifted at the edge of a system that, according to every Union record, was long dead. Earth was supposed to be gone, its oceans poisoned, its skies choked. A relic, a warning, nothing more. But when the New Dawn scanners completed their sweep, silence fell across every ship. On the main screen, Earth shimmered like a jewel, oceans blue and alive, forests stretching across continents, clouds swirling in perfect white spirals. It was beautiful, too beautiful. Lisa Morrison leaned over her console, her voice breaking. The readings are real, the atmosphere is clean, the biodiversity is off the charts. This isn't a dying world, this is a paradise. Jake Morrison stood frozen, staring at the screen. He remembered stories whispered in the refugee fleet of a green Earth, lost to fire and greed. A world humanity had abandoned, and yet here it was. Pete Collins wiped oil from his hands, squinting at the display. Captain, I don't get it. This shouldn't be possible. No world comes back from what happened to Earth. Vrex, the alien scientist, stepped forward. His thin frame shook, but his eyes gleamed. Your world has changed. It has adapted far beyond natural limits. I warned you. Earth has become something else. Amy Rodriguez's voice cut through, sharp and suspicious. Or this is an illusion, a trap. The Union could have built this to lure us in. No, Lisa whispered. She pointed to the biosphere data. Look, there are signatures here from alien species, not just plants, entire ecosystems from other worlds. Earth has absorbed them, integrated them. This isn't a simple recovery. This is engineered. The revelation left the bridge in stunned silence. Moments later, alarms flared. Amy turned to her station. Incoming vessels. On the main screen, sleek silver ships appeared, their hulls glowing with faint bioluminescent patterns. They didn't move like machines. They flowed, gliding with impossible grace. A transmission cut through. Unknown vessels, this is Admiral Helen Carter of the Earth Defense Fleet. You have entered restricted space. Identify yourselves immediately. The image of a stern, gray-haired woman filled the screen. Her uniform was unlike anything Jake had ever seen, sharp lines fused with living fibers that pulsed faintly, as though the suit itself was alive. Her eyes were hard, unyielding. Jake's throat tightened. Admiral Carter, My name is Captain Jake Morrison of the refugee ship New Dawn. We are survivors of the Union exile. We seek sanctuary on Earth. For the first time, a flicker of emotion crossed the Admiral's face. Recognition, perhaps disbelief. How many? She asked. 43 ships, 200,000 people. The Admiral exhaled almost a whisper. Dear God! Then her mask of authority returned. Maintain current position. Do not approach Earth until we complete security protocols. An escort will be dispatched. The transmission cut. Amy muttered, security protocols or firing squad. But minutes later, the silver ship surrounded the human fleet, not with weapons pointed, but with precision and care. They guided the ragged refugee vessels toward Earth's orbit. Jake stood on the New Dawn's bridge as the blue planet filled the view, his breath caught. He had seen many worlds, but nothing like this. Forests shimmered with colors beyond the normal spectrum. Rivers glowed faintly, twisting like veins of living light. Cities were nestled seamlessly within the landscape, grown rather than built, towers of crystal and living wood that pulsed softly with energy. Lisa whispered, "It's alive, the whole planet, it's alive." Kelly Wright, who had spent her life growing alien crops in steel domes, pressed her hand to the glass. Tears filled her eyes. This is what home was supposed to be. Vrex studied the biosphere readings, his voice filled with awe. This is no longer just Earth. This is the greatest biological integration I have ever seen. Your species has achieved the impossible. Amy scowled, or someone else did it for them. Hours later, a docking signal came. A shuttle from Earth attached to the New Dawn. When the airlock hissed open, a man stepped aboard. He was tall, dark-skinned, with intelligent eyes and a calm presence. His uniform bore living threads, just like Admiral Carter. "I'm Captain Jack Turner of the Earth Defense Fleet," he said, extending his hand. "Welcome home." Jake hesitated, then took the hand. Home, the word felt strange, heavy, but real. Turner's gaze swept over the exhausted refugees crammed into corridors, the hungry children, the tired mothers. His expression softened. "You've been through hell." "We survived," Jake said, "barely." Turner's voice was steady but carried warmth. "Then you've come to the right place." Turner led Jake, Lisa, and Carl Bennett onto the Earth shuttle. As they descended through the atmosphere, the view left them breathless. Forests stretched across continents, glowing faintly as though each tree carried its own light. Rivers flowed in precise patterns, never flooding, never straying. Cities rose like living sculptures, their walls of crystal and organic fibers pulsing with the rhythm of a heartbeat. Lisa pressed her scanner against the glass. "This isn't natural, this is designed." Turner nodded. "You're correct. Earth took a different path after the colonies left. We realized mechanical technology was destroying us. So we turned to biology. We stopped building machines. We started growing them." Jake stared at him. Growing ships, cities, weapons. Turner's eyes glinted. All of it. The shuttle landed on a platform that seemed to rise out of the ground itself. Flowers bloomed along its edges, and the surface shifted under their feet like living skin. The air was pure, rich with scents of earth and rain. Waiting for them was a woman with red hair and sharp green eyes. She wore no crown, no grand robes, only a simple living uniform that pulsed gently with light. Turner bowed his head. "President Karen Foster, may I present Captain Jake Morrison and his people." President Foster stepped forward, her smile warm but her gaze piercing. She took Jake's hand. "On behalf of Earth, Captain, welcome home. And let me say how deeply sorry we are for what you've endured." Jake swallowed hard. For years, no one had spoken to him or any refugee with kindness. His voice cracked. We didn't think this place still existed." President Foster's smile softened. "Not only does it exist, it has been waiting for you." Over the next hours, Jake and Lisa were shown wonders they could barely comprehend. They walked through laboratories where scientists worked with living computers, organisms that thought and adapted faster than any machine. They saw ships being grown in massive organic chambers, birthed from biofactories like fruits from trees. Pete Collins nearly fainted when he saw an engine that pulsed with living fibers, repairing itself as it ran. Kelly Wright broke down in tears when shown greenhouses filled with crops that produced 10 times the yield of any artificial farm. But the greatest revelation came when Lisa was led into a chamber filled with glowing crystalline roots. A network of energy pulsed through them like a nervous system. Dr. Sandra Clark, one of Earth's lead scientists, stood beside her. "Do you see it, Dr. Morrison?" Lisa's scanner lit up with impossible readings. Her breath caught. "This isn't just an ecosystem," she whispered. "It's a computation matrix, the biosphere itself, it thinks." Dr. Clark nodded. "Yes, Earth is no longer just a planet. It is a living computer, the most powerful intelligence in the galaxy." Jake's knees felt weak. He had fought pirates, defied the Union, led thousands through hell. But this was beyond comprehension. President Foster entered the chamber. "Captain Morrison, you and your people are safe now, but safety has a cost. The Union will come. They will not tolerate what Earth has become, and they will not forgive you for leading your fleet here." Jake's voice was low. "Then we'll leave. We won't put Earth in danger." "No," Foster said firmly, cutting him off. Her green eyes burned with fire. "You are home, and Earth protects its children." Lisa looked around at the glowing roots, the pulsing lights, the living intelligence surrounding them. Her voice trembled. "But President, what exactly has Earth become?" The answer came not in words, but in the ground itself. The chamber pulsed, the roots glowing brighter, and for a heartbeat Jake swore he felt a presence in his mind. A vast intelligence, ancient and awake, watching him. He staggered back, breathless. Earth was alive, and it had chosen to reveal itself. Jake Morrison lay awake in the living quarters Earth had grown for him and Lisa. The walls pulsed faintly with soft light, like the inside of a living heartbeat. The air carried the scent of grass after rain. Everything here was alive, the walls, the floors, even the bed beneath him. And though it should have comforted him, Jake could not rest. He kept hearing it. A whisper, not words exactly, but impressions. Flashes of thought that weren't his. A presence brushing against his mind, ancient and vast. He turned to Lisa, who was staring at the ceiling, her eyes wide open. "You feel it too," Jake whispered. Lisa nodded slowly. "The planet is aware of us, it's trying to communicate." Jake rubbed his face with his hands. "A whole world, alive and thinking, that's not something a soldier knows how to deal with." Lisa touched his arm gently. "It's not something anyone knows how to deal with, but we don't have a choice. Earth has chosen to reveal itself. That means it needs us." The next morning, they met with President Karen Foster and Admiral Helen Carter inside Earth's Central Command. The chamber seemed to breathe around them, walls shifting like flexible crystal, displays blooming like flowers, showing tactical maps. General Roy Phillips, Earth's military commander, projected a star chart above the table. Points of light shimmered, some green, others red. "These," he said, pointing to the red, "are Union forward bases. They've been moving toward Sol for decades. Your arrival accelerated their interest. We now estimate they will arrive within weeks." Amy Rodriguez, standing with her arms crossed, narrowed her eyes. "You're saying the Union already knew about Earth?" President Foster nodded. "Yes, we've been preparing for this confrontation for 50 years. We monitored their movements. We knew they would come. We just didn't expect them so soon." Jake leaned forward. "What exactly are you asking from us?" Foster's green eyes locked onto him. "Integration. Your refugee fleet must become part of Earth's defense. Your people know Union tactics, their technology, their weaknesses. Earth knows the science, the strategy, the biology. Together, we have a chance." Jake hesitated. "And if we refuse?" Admiral Carter's jaw tightened. "Then you die, and so does Earth." The silence that followed was heavy, broken only by the faint hum of the living chamber. Lisa finally spoke. "Earth isn't just a planet anymore. It's a network, it's thinking, and I believe it wants us here. It showed itself to Jake last night, and to me." General Phillips frowned. "The planet talks to you." "Not in words," Lisa said carefully, "but I felt it. It trusts us." Foster nodded. "Then the choice is clear. You've come home, and home is asking for your help." Over the following weeks, the refugee fleet began to merge with Earth systems. Pete Collins worked side by side with Earth engineers. At first, he cursed in frustration. "These ships aren't built, they're grown. How the hell do you repair something that heals itself?" But soon, his gruff exterior cracked. He discovered the living conduits responded to intent. If he thought about a repair, the systems began fixing themselves. "Damn," he muttered, wiping sweat from his brow. "It's like they read your mind." Danny Cook, the young engineer, thrived in Earth's shipyards. His mind raced ahead of the old engineers, blending refugee tech with Earth biology. If we graft Union reactor stabilizers into Earth-grown engines, we can double the output, he explained excitedly. To everyone's shock, it worked. Kelly Wright found her calling in Earth's botanical sanctuaries. She wept when she saw fields of wheat glowing with faint light, plants pulsing with bioengineered rhythms. When she introduced the ancient Earth seeds from the refugee fleet, scientists gasped. These varieties were thought extinct, one botanist said reverently. You've preserved our genetic heritage. Children of the refugee fleet adapted faster than anyone. They ran through the living cities with Earth-born children, laughing as the streets shifted to form playgrounds beneath their feet. Where adults hesitated, children accepted. For them, Earth was not strange. It was home. But not all welcomed the integration. In the Refugee Council, a man named Bill Hayes, a former Union administrator, stood up during a heated meeting. His voice rang with authority. We should not fight the Union. They gave us peace for 2 centuries. They protected us. Yes, they exiled us, but only because we broke their laws. Do we really want to bring their wrath upon this new home? Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Some nodded, others glared. Amy Rodriguez slammed her fist on the table. They didn't give us peace. They gave us chains. They forced us to abandon our homes in 48 hours like criminals. You call that protection? Hayes shot back, and what has Earth promised you? To fight a war we cannot win? You've seen the Union's fleets, hundreds of worlds under their command. We can't stand against them. Jake stood slowly, his voice calm but carrying steel. The Union underestimated us once. They thought we were weak, predictable, and we survived. We fought pirates, we crossed hostile space, and we found a world they told us was dead. If Earth says we can fight, then I say we fight, because the alternative is slavery. The chamber fell silent. Hayes scowled but said no more. That night, Lisa returned to the crystalline root chamber. She pressed her hands against the pulsing surface. Again, she felt it, the vast presence. This time, it was clearer. Images filled her mind. Stars, fleets moving like swarms, battles not yet fought, and beneath it all, a sense of determination. Earth wasn't afraid, it was preparing. Jake found her kneeling by the roots, tears streaming down her face. What did it say? He whispered. Lisa looked up, her eyes wide with awe. It's not just thinking, Jake. It's planning, the whole planet. Every tree, every river, every living thing. Earth is ready for war. Jake swallowed hard. Then so are we. The preparations grew more intense. Refugee ships were fused with living conduits, turning them into hybrid vessels. Fighters were grown in days instead of years. Weapons no longer fired simple plasma, but streams of living energy that adapted mid-battle. Training shifted too. Human pilots were linked to Earth's biological network, feeling each other's movements as if sharing a single mind. At first, many resisted. The sensation was overwhelming. But once they adjusted, their coordination became perfect, better than any Union squadron could dream of. Nancy Baker, now leading joint training, grinned after her squadron executed an impossible maneuver with flawless precision. We're not just pilots anymore, she said. We're a flock. Then came the news. General Phillips entered the command chamber, his face grim. The star map bloomed above the table. Dozens of red lights flared at the edge of Sol. The Union fleet has arrived, he said. Over 300 warships. A chill ran through the chamber. The numbers were overwhelming. Admiral Carter's voice was steady, but her eyes betrayed steel. So it begins. Jake looked at Lisa, then at President Foster. We've been preparing, but can we really stand against that? Before Foster could answer, the floor beneath them pulsed with light. The roots of the living network glowed brighter, spreading patterns of energy across the chamber walls. Lisa whispered, It's Earth. It's listening. It's confident. Foster smiled grimly. Captain Morrison, you asked if we can win. Earth's answer is yes. The human fleet moved into position alongside Earth's grown warships. From orbit, Jake watched as the planet itself shimmered, ribbons of light dancing across its atmosphere like auroras. Steve Parker, the refugee fleet's navigator, muttered in disbelief. The magnetic field is changing. It's shaping space around us. This planet isn't just alive, it's fighting already. On the main screen, the Union fleet emerged from hyperspace. Hundreds of ships, vast and menacing, blotting out the stars. At their head, the insectoid Admiral Zekker of the Jek Empire appeared, his mandibles twitching with arrogance. His transmission cut across all channels. Primitive humans, you are harboring criminals expelled from Union space. Surrender them at once or face annihilation. Jake stepped forward, his heart pounding. Behind him, Earth's network pulsed, flowing through the ships, through him. He felt its calm strength, its endless patience. "This is Captain Jake Morrison," he said firmly. "The people you call criminals are not refugees, they are home. This world is ours. If you want to take it from us, come and try." Admiral Zeka's mandibles clicked with disdain. "Then you will be destroyed." His image vanished. The red swarm of Union warships began to advance. Jake turned to his crew. "All ships prepare for battle." The air itself seemed to vibrate as Earth's voice pulsed through every system, every heart, every mind. The war for humanity's future had begun. The Union fleet advanced like a tidal wave, blotting out the stars. 300 warships, sleek and angular, bristling with weapons capable of leveling cities. Their formation was perfect, precise, unstoppable. On Earth's surface, forests glowed with shifting patterns of light. Rivers shimmered as if alive with energy. In orbit, Earth's grown warships pulsed in rhythm with the planet below. It was as though the entire world was breathing, preparing itself. On the New Dawn's bridge, Jake Morrison gripped the armrest. His heart thundered, but through the living conduits wrapped around the ship's controls, he felt something strange, calm. The planet's awareness flowed into him, steadying his fear. "Union fleet entering weapons range," reported Amy Rodriguez. Jake nodded. "Hold fire, wait for their move." On the main screen, Admiral Zeka of the Jek Empire appeared again, his insected mandibles clicking with contempt. "You think your world can defy the Union? You think humans, the weakest species we saved from extinction, can resist us? You will kneel or burn." The transmission cut. The Union fleet opened fire. Blinding beams of plasma streaked through the void, enough energy to crack moons. But as the weapons neared Earth, space itself seemed to bend. The beams curved away, deflected like light through a prism. Some twisted harmlessly into the void. Others bent back, striking Union ships by accident. On the New Dawn, Steve Parker's eyes went wide. "Captain, the planet is manipulating gravitational fields. It's bending their weapons away." Jake's grip tightened. "Then we make them pay for every shot." "Return fire," Admiral Carter commanded from Earth's defense hub. The first volley came from Earth's living warships. Instead of simple plasma, they fired streams of adaptive energy, beams that twisted mid-flight, seeking weaknesses. Union shields flared, then shattered. One ship exploded in a silent burst of fire. Nancy Baker's fighter squadron launched next, human and Earthborn pilots alike. Linked through the planetary network, they moved as one, weaving unpredictable patterns. To the Union, it was madness. To the humans, it was instinct. "Strike wings, spiral formation," Nancy called. Her squadron dove into the swarm, scattering Union fighters. The battle became chaos. Inside the Union flagship, Admiral Zeka slammed his claws on the console. "Impossible," he roared. "Their coordination is perfect. No species can fight like this." His science officer's mandibles trembled. "Admiral, it is as though they share a single mind." Zeka hissed, "Then break it, jam their communications." Across the battlefield, Union ships unleashed jamming fields. Frequencies scrambled, channels went dark. But the humans kept fighting flawlessly. Danny Cook, working in Earth's hybrid command center, grinned. "They don't get it. We're not using radios anymore. The planet itself is our network." He gestured to the pulsing roots surrounding the chamber. "Earth is carrying our thoughts faster than light. They can't jam nature." On the Harvest Moon, Kelly Wright worked frantically in a biolab as the ship shook. She wasn't a soldier, but she had her own battlefield, Earth's living microorganisms. She turned to Lisa Morrison. "If we seed these into orbit, they can expand the planetary network, extend it." Lisa nodded. Together, they released clouds of engineered spores into space. Invisible to the naked eye, they spread like dust, weaving a vast biological web around the battlefield. Suddenly, Earth's awareness expanded. Every asteroid, every solar flare, every movement of the Union fleet became part of its sight. Jake gasped as his ship's systems lit up with data. He could feel Earth's presence guiding him. "Captain," Steve whispered, "it's like the planet itself is in the fight." The battle raged on. Union ships fired relentlessly, but Earth bent their weapons, twisted gravity, even pulled asteroids into their paths. Human fighters struck with impossible precision, always one step ahead. Refugee ships, once fragile, now fought with living armor, regenerating from damage almost instantly. Pete Collins cheered as he watched a hull breach seal itself with pulsing fibers. Damn right, heal, you beauty, heal. Yet the Union's numbers were vast. For every ship destroyed, 2 more pressed forward. The sky burned with fire and wreckage. On the refugee ship Elysium, a direct hit tore through decks, killing dozens. Jake clenched his fists, rage burning in his chest. No more, he roared. Target their carriers, take out their launch bays. The fleet obeyed. Human fighters spiraled into the heart of the Union formation, striking carriers until they erupted in fire. But the Union still pushed. Admiral Zeka's voice thundered across the comms. You cannot win. You are insects biting at a giant. We will grind you into dust. Jake's voice cut back, steady and unflinching. You made one mistake, Admiral. You thought we'd stay weak forever, but humans evolve. Then Earth revealed its greatest weapon. Lisa's scanner flared as the planet's biosphere surged. Jake, it's channeling the entire ecosystem. Every tree, every river, every living cell. The planet is thinking faster than anything in existence. In orbit, Earth's magnetic field twisted into luminous ribbons. Energy surged across the solar system, pulling solar flares into precise beams of radiation. Union sensors went blind. Asteroids shifted, pulled into perfect trajectories that smashed through Union cruisers. Union ships began to break formation. Panic spread. Admiral Zeka's mandibles clicked in fury. No, hold your lines, they are only humans. But even he could see it. Earth itself was alive, and it was fighting. On the new dawn, alarms screamed. A Union battleship, larger than anything the humans had faced, broke through the defenses. Its cannons charged, aimed directly at Earth. Captain, Amy shouted, if that thing fires, it'll tear through the planet's defenses. Jake stared at the display. They were too far, too slow. Then Nancy's voice cut in, calm and fierce. Leave it to us. Her squadron dove straight at the battleship, weaving through a storm of fire. 3 fighters went down instantly, but Nancy pressed forward, her voice steady. For Earth, for humanity. She led her remaining wing directly into the battleship's cannon array. Their fighters exploded in unison, a chain reaction that ripped the ship apart. Jake's throat tightened. Nancy was gone, but she had saved them all. The battlefield fell eerily quiet. Smoke and wreckage drifted across the void. Union ships, once confident, now scattered. Admiral Zeka's flagship floated, battered but intact. His mandibles trembled with rage. This is not possible. They are humans. They should be nothing. Jake's voice cut across his comms, firm and cold. You forgot the one thing that makes us dangerous, Admiral. We don't give up. Not ever. Earth pulsed with light, the network surged, and in that moment the Union fleet broke. One by one, their ships retreated, vanishing into hyperspace. The war wasn't over, but Earth had survived its first trial. On the New Dawn's bridge, the crew erupted in exhausted cheers. Mothers wept. Children clung to their parents. Soldiers embraced. Jake leaned back, trembling, staring at the blue-green planet below. Lisa's hand found his. We did it, she whispered. Jake's voice was heavy but steady. No, Earth did it. We just fought with her. President Foster's transmission filled the screen. Her face was tired, but her eyes glowed with pride. Captain Morrison, today we showed the Union a truth they will never forget. Humanity is no longer their ward. We are free, and we are strong. But her voice darkened as she continued. They will return, stronger, more desperate. This battle was only the beginning. Jake nodded grimly. He looked at Lisa, then at the tired faces around him. Refugees no longer, survivors no longer. Warriors. And he knew Earth had chosen them for something greater. The smoke of war still lingered in orbit. Wreckage drifted like silent tombstones, lit by the pale glow of Earth's auroras. The Union fleet was gone, but the scars remained, shattered ships, lost lives, and the memory of Nancy Baker's final charge. In Earth's capital, a living city that pulsed like a forest of crystal and light, humanity gathered. Refugee leaders, Earthborn officials, scientists, and soldiers all filled the breathing chamber of the Grand Council. The walls pulsed faintly, as though the planet itself listened. President Foster rose first, her voice calm but resolute. "We have done what no one thought possible. We stood against the Union and we survived. But this victory is only the beginning. The Union will return in greater numbers and we must be ready." Applause filled the chamber, but not from all. Bill Hayes, the former Union administrator, stood sharply, his voice loud and biting. "Ready, ready for what? For annihilation. Do you fools understand what you've done? The Union controls half the galaxy. They can return with 1,000 ships, 10,000. And you think this living planet will save you again?" Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Some refugees shifted uncomfortably. They had fought bravely, but the memory of Union power still haunted them. Amy Rodriguez snapped back, her voice like a whip. "We just proved Earth is stronger than their entire fleet." Hayes jabbed a finger at her. "Stronger once, but what about next time? How many Nancy Bakers will we burn until we are nothing but ash?" Jake rose slowly, his voice steady. "Bill, I understand your fear, I feel it too, but running has never saved us. We fled Earth once and the Union enslaved us. We fled Kepler and the Union cast us out again. If we run now, we will run forever. This is the first time in centuries we have stood and fought and won." The chamber fell silent. Lisa stepped forward, her eyes fierce. "And Earth is not just a planet, it's an ally. It chose to fight with us. You want to beg the Union for mercy? Fine, but Earth will not kneel, and neither will I." Applause thundered this time, drowning Hayes' scowl, but the divide was clear. Humanity was not united. Some were ready to fight. Others still dreamed of peace, even if it meant chains. Later, Jake walked with Lisa through the glowing forests outside the council chamber. The ground shifted under their feet, adjusting to their steps. Strange flowers opened as they passed, releasing scents of rain and fire. Jake exhaled heavily. "We won the battle, but I don't know if we can win the war. The Union's numbers are too great." Lisa touched the pulsing bark of a tree, her scanner glowing faintly. "We're not fighting alone. Earth is more than it seems, and I think it's still holding secrets." As if in response, the ground beneath them pulsed with light. A ripple of energy moved through the forest, leading them toward a crystalline canyon. Lisa's eyes widened. "Jake, it wants us to follow." They descended into the canyon, where the walls glowed with veins of light. At the bottom lay a massive chamber of roots and crystal. The air thrummed like a heartbeat. Lisa pressed her hands against the roots. Her eyes glazed as the connection hit her, a flood of images, sensations, thoughts. She staggered but stayed standing. Jake caught her shoulders. "Lisa." She gasped, "It's showing me memories, not mine, Earth." Through her, Jake saw flashes. Human cities burning centuries ago, when Earth was abandoned. Forests dying, oceans poisoned. Then rebirth, the first seeds of integration when desperate scientists bound machines to biology. Centuries of growth, of evolution, until the planet itself awoke. Lisa's voice shook. "Jake, Earth is alive, yes, but it's more than that. It's a weapon, a living intelligence designed to fight." Jake's breath caught. "Designed by who?" Lisa looked up at the glowing roots, her face pale. "By us, humans. 200 years ago, before we fled, our ancestors gave Earth the ability to fight back. They turned the planet into the greatest weapon in history, and now it's ready." The revelation spread quickly. In council meetings, scientists debated furiously. Some were horrified. "We made Earth into a machine of war," one cried. "We corrupted our home." Others saw salvation. "It's the only reason we're still alive." President Foster silenced them with a raised hand. "Weapon or not, Earth is alive now. It has its own will, and it has chosen to fight with us." But Bill Hayes seized the moment. "Don't you see? This is why the Union fears us. Humanity doesn't know limits. We tampered with nature, and now we've created a monster. Do you really think the galaxy will allow this to exist?" Jake slammed his fist on the table. "The galaxy doesn't get to decide anymore. We do." Meanwhile, in Earth's hidden command sanctuaries, Danny Cook and Pete Collins worked feverishly with Earthborn engineers. Danny grinned as he examined a hybrid fighter grown in a crystalline cocoon. "This isn't just a ship. It adapts mid-battle, learns, every fight makes it smarter." Pete muttered, "Yeah, until it decides it doesn't need us anymore." Danny shot him a look. "It's not replacing us, it's working with us. Don't you feel it? The way the conduits respond, it's like trust." Pete scratched his beard. Or dependence, and I don't like depending on something I don't understand. On the agricultural sanctuaries, Kelly Wright made a discovery of her own. The ancient earth seeds she had brought, wheat, corn, beans, had not just survived. They had thrived. But more than that, they had merged with Earth's living ecosystem. She watched as a stalk of wheat pulsed faintly with bioluminescent light, its roots twinning with the soil in complex networks. Her assistant gasped, "It's fusing. Our old crops are becoming part of Earth's biosphere." Kelly's eyes shone with tears. "It means we belong here. Humanity and Earth are one again." But even as humanity marveled, danger loomed. Amy Rodriguez received intelligence from Earth's outer listening posts. She stormed into Jake's quarters, her face grim. "They're regrouping," she said flatly. Jake straightened. "The Union." Amy nodded. Zeka's fleet didn't retreat in defeat. It retreated to call reinforcements. Their next wave will be larger, maybe double, maybe more, and they're bringing planet killers. Lisa's stomach dropped. Planet killers. "Weapons designed to crack worlds in half," Amy said. "The Union doesn't just want to beat us. They want to erase Earth." Jake clenched his fists. "Then we stop them before they arrive." Amy frowned. "How hunt them down? That's suicide." Lisa spoke quietly, but her voice carried weight. "No, Earth has another way." That night, Jake and Lisa returned to the root chamber. The pulsing network glowed brighter than ever, energy rippling like waves. Lisa placed her hand on the crystalline surface. "It's been waiting," she whispered. "It wants to show us its true power." The chamber shook. Images flooded their minds, fleets burning, Union ships twisted apart, gravitational fields tearing warships like paper. Jake staggered back, overwhelmed. "God, it can fight entire armadas." Lisa's voice trembled. "It can, but only if we let it fully integrate with us. Not just ships, not just weapons. With us, our thoughts, our memories, our lives. Earth wants us inside its network." Jake stared at her. "You mean becoming part of it?" Lisa nodded slowly. "Yes, if we connect, we'll think as one. Humanity and Earth, a single intelligence. That's how we win." Jake's chest tightened. The idea was terrifying, surrendering individuality, even for moments. But as he looked at Lisa, at the glowing roots, at the fragile hope of their people, he knew what was coming. Earth was not just alive. It was waiting. The chamber pulsed like a heartbeat as Jake and Lisa stood before the glowing roots of Earth's vast intelligence. Energy rippled across the crystalline walls, and the air hummed with a low resonance, almost like the planet was breathing around them. Lisa's voice was steady, but her eyes betrayed fear. "This is the choice, Jake. Earth is asking us to join, to merge." Jake's jaw tightened. He thought of Nancy Baker's sacrifice, of Harris's last words, of the 200,000 refugees who had followed him through exile and despair. He thought of his people, tired and broken, yet still fighting. "Will we lose ourselves?" Jake asked quietly. Lisa pressed her hand against the glowing root. "Not lose, share. For a time we'd be part of something bigger, connected, but the risk," she hesitated. "We may never be the same again." Jake stared at the pulsing lights, then exhaled. "Then maybe that's the point. Humanity has always survived by adapting, and now Earth is giving us the chance to evolve." The decision was made. Within hours, leaders from the refugee fleet, Earth's defense fleet, scientists and soldiers gathered in the root chamber. The glowing network expanded, tendrils stretching across the walls like veins of light. President Foster stood tall, her green eyes burning. "We fight the Union not just for ourselves, but for every species they've broken, every world they've enslaved. Today, we stand as one." Amy Rodriguez clenched her fists. "If this is what it takes to win, then I'm in. I've fought with human squads, and I've fought with Earth ships. Let's see what we can do when we fight as one mind." Even Pete Collins, gruff and skeptical, placed his grease-stained hand on the glowing root. "Damn thing fixed more engines than I ever could. Guess I owe it." Kelly Wright followed, holding a seedling glowing faintly with bioluminescence. "Earth took our crops, our heritage. It made them part of itself. It's only right we give the same." Danny Cook's young voice was firm. "I've been waiting for this, to prove humans don't just survive, we lead." One by one, they all touched the roots. Refugees, Earthborn, soldiers, scientists, children, humanity itself. And then Earth took them in. It began as a whisper in their minds, then a flood. Jake staggered as visions poured into him, the flow of rivers, the beating of countless wings, the shifting of tectonic plates, the burning of stars. He gasped as his awareness expanded, merging with Lisa, with Amy, with Pete, with every human who touched the network. He felt their memories, their fears, their hopes. He was Jake Morrison, but also more. And beneath it all, vast and calm, was Earth, not a voice but a presence, ancient, patient, alive. Together, the presence said, not in words but in understanding, we fight together. At the edge of Sol, the Union fleet arrived. Admiral Zeka commanded over 600 warships now, a force vast enough to crush entire star systems. His mandibles clicked with anticipation as Earth filled his view. This time, he hissed, we end the human plague forever. The Union fleet advanced, weapons primed. But Earth was ready. The planet's surface lit up with networks of glowing light, stretching across continents. Orbital stations pulsed with energy, shifting into perfect formations. Asteroids moved into place as if guided by invisible hands. And then the human fleet surged forward, no longer refugees, but part of a living world. Their ships pulsed with Earth's energy, regenerating, adapting, learning. Their fighters moved with impossible coordination, weaving patterns no Union computer could predict. Jake's voice echoed across the battlefield, amplified through the planetary network. Admiral Zeka, you called us insects. Today you'll see what happens when insects swarm. The battle erupted. Union warships unleashed their fury. Planet-killer cannons charged, glowing with deadly energy. But Earth twisted reality itself. Gravitational fields bent, pulling the beams off course. Solar flares lashed out from the sun, focused into precise strikes that burned through enemy shields. Human fighters dove into the swarm, their movements flawless, guided by the collective mind. Nancy Baker's tactics, remembered by all, became instinct for every pilot. Amy Rodriguez led the vanguard. Strike wings, spiral through their carriers, show them chaos. The Union tried to adapt, but Earth adapted faster. Every move they made was anticipated, countered. Ships exploded in brilliant fire as the swarm pressed forward. Jake felt it all, every pilot, every soldier, every heartbeat, flowing through him as if he commanded an army of one mind. Push them back, he roared, for Earth. Admiral Zeka watched in disbelief as his fleet crumbled. This is not possible, he screamed. They are only humans. His science officer trembled. Admiral, it is not just humans, it is the planet. The world itself is fighting us. Zeka bared his jagged teeth. Then destroy the world. The planet-killer cannons fired. Massive beams of energy streaked toward Earth, enough to shatter its core. For a heartbeat, Jake felt terror ripple through the network. But then Earth surged, its voice steady, unwavering. With me. The planet's magnetic field flared into brilliant auroras. The beams bent, curved, and snapped back. The Union's planet killers tore through their own fleet, splitting battleships apart in fire. The humans and Earth struck together, one mind, one force. Union ships fell in waves. And then the flagship itself was caught. Gravitational eddies twisted it, spinning helplessly. Human fighters swarmed, striking with perfect precision. Admiral Zeka's final roar echoed across the comms before his ship erupted in light. Silence fell. The battlefield was littered with wreckage. 600 Union warships, gone. Earth's skis still glowed with ribbons of energy, pulsing with victory. Inside the network, Jake felt the relief, the triumph, the grief for the fallen. He felt Nancy's memory burning bright, Harris's sacrifice, the courage of every soul who had given their life. And then slowly Earth released them. The flood of awareness faded. Jake staggered, gasping back into himself. Lisa caught his arm, her face pale but resolute. We did it, together. Jake looked down at Earth, glowing like a living jewel. His chest ached with pride. Not refugees, not outcasts. Home. Weeks later, Earth cities pulsed with renewal. Refugees and Earthborn worked side by side, rebuilding, growing stronger. Crops thrived, ships healed, children played without fear for the first time in generations. In the Grand Council, President Foster stood before representatives of dozens of alien species who had come, drawn by whispers of Earth's victory. She raised her voice. The Union's reign of fear is broken. Earth is not just humanity's home. It is the heart of a new alliance, Any who have suffered under the Union's chains, you are welcome here." The chamber erupted in cheers. Jake stood with Lisa, Kelly, Pete, Amy, and Danny, watching as hope spread across the galaxy. Lisa whispered, "A few years ago we were running from extinction. Now we're leading." Jake smiled faintly, his eyes on the stars. "Earth gave us a second chance, and now we'll make sure no one ever takes it away again." That night, Jake returned alone to the root chamber. The glowing roots pulsed softly, welcoming him. He pressed his hand to the surface. "You saved us, you gave us everything, but why? Why trust humans after what we did to you centuries ago?" The presence surged gently through his mind, vast and calm. "Because you are mine, and I am yours, alone we fell, together we rise." Jake exhaled, a single tear slipping down his cheek. "Then let's rise, Earth, together." Above him the planet pulsed with light, its heartbeat echoing through the stars. And somewhere in the shadows of the galaxy, the Union reeled and feared. Because for the first time in history, humanity was no longer running. They were home, and they were ready.